This is a really good opportunity for us to learn from you. We are reading a book right now, and I will grab a copy here in a second so it can sit in front of you. We are reading the book, The 57 Bus, which is a true story of an agent teen in Oakland, California, being set on fire by a teen African-American male who was just pressured and did something really stupid. And when he went into his deposition with the police, he used the word homophobic, but he used it incorrectly, and it came back to him in court. And he was then charged with hate crime and felonies. And now we're at the debate on whether or not we should try him as an adult because of the severity of the burnings to the victim, or we should treat him as a teen who just did something really stupid and doesn't have ill intentions according to the letters that we keep reading. One of the things that you are going to provide for us today is Sasha's experience as an agent and teen, and what they have to offer to our story, and how we can unpack what's going through their mindsets. So I'm gonna let the kids take it away. This is student-driven interview. I'm gonna be huddled creepily in the corner just listening. Corey's gonna start. He's gonna give some introductions, and then Bailey's gonna read our summary so you guys can get an idea, a little bit richer context of the book. And then we've got some questions for you guys. So we really appreciate your time being here today. And then also too, you might wonder what Hayden's doing over there. We are recording you, if that's okay with your permission, so that all of our 8th graders can then go back and watch your voice and learn from you. So you don't have to repeat yourself, 8 times a day, that kind of thing.
You want us to introduce ourselves?
That would be great.
I'm Kari Hammerstrom. I'm the president of Queer Ed Birds. I identify as bisexual.
My name is Sweet Chambers. I'm also bisexual and the secretary of Queer Ed Birds.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm the outreach coordinator. I identify as trans and lesbian. I'm not good at introductions. Good to meet you. I use she, her pronouns.
My name is Genesis Robinson. I am heterosexual. I'm an ally, and I'm the treasurer of Queer Ed Birds.
Okay. I'm Corey Haddon, and I'm one of the people that will be interviewing you guys and asking you questions.
My name is Bailey Brooks, and I'll be reading the summary and asking you guys, or well, actually Kendall's will be reading the summary, and I'll be asking you guys some questions.
I'm Kendall Burr, and I'll be reading the summary and asking questions.
I'm Amanda Nelson, and I'll be asking you questions as well.
I'm Marcia Tadal. I'm also reading questions. I'm Morgan Rosmeyer, and I'll be asking questions too.
I'm Nathan Kemper. I will be asking you guys questions as well.
I'm Hayden. I'm recording the whole thing.
Maybe stalker.
It's not stalking with permission.
So the planner kind of explained the summary, but I'll start with the ones that we got. Journalist and author Slater offers a riveting account of the events that preceded and followed a 2013 assault in Oakland, California. Both Sasha, a white Asian private school teenager, and Richard, an African-American public school student who had lost numerous loved ones to murder, rode the 57 bus every day. One afternoon, Richard, edged on by friends, lit the sleeping Sasha's skirt on fire, and the resulting blaze left third-degree burns over 22% of Sasha's body. 16-year-old Richard was arrested and charged with an adult committing a hate crime. The short, easily digestible chapters take a variety of forms, including narrative, poetry, lists including terms for gender, sex, and sexuality, text message conversations, in Richard's heart-trending letters of apology to Sasha, using details gleaned from interviews, social media surveillance videos, public court recordings, and other sources. Slater skillfully conveys the complexities of both young people's lives and the courage and compassion of their families, friends, and advocates, while explaining the challenges and moral uncertainty of the criminal justice system. This painful story illuminates, cautions, and inspires.
Okay, so our first question. In our book, The 57 Bus, Sasha, an agent or teen who has to ride the bus to and from school, has to deal with random people making rude or snide comments about their outfit or other apparel pieces such as a skirt. What kind of comments did you have to endure through your experience within this club or on public transportation?
I use public transportation, so I've not had too many experiences. Because I'm not necessarily dressing out of the I don't get a lot of like backlash towards me. I'm not entirely sure about everybody else.
Am I allowed to say?
I want you to use your voice.
Okay.
Please.
I've been called a faggot quite a few times. And no laughing.
Sorry, it just came
no,
out of
it's
nowhere.
Okay. It's weird. It happened just the other day, and I was kind of laughing about it because I hadn't been called that in so long. Sorry about my voice, but literally the last time I was called that was like in high school. So it was kind of surprising to be called that in college. I was also wearing something quite, I'll just say heteronormative. I was wearing jeans and a sweater. Like this is, yeah, and a hoodie that day. And it was like I was walking to school and they're just like, look at that faggot. And I was just like, what? I played it off. It's upsetting.
Yeah.
It's very upsetting. Like this is a girl thing. I bought this out of the girl section. I think it looks normal enough, but it's random because not everybody will say something to me. Most people won't. Most people might give looks, and it's uncomfortable. Makes me uncomfortable. I don't know if that answered your question. You just wanted an experience, so there's one. I apologize.
I think you're gonna get a lot more looks too, like if you're with your same-sex partner. People might say something more often then. I think when you're alone, maybe it's a little bit harder for people to tell that you're maybe different from they are. So you do tend to get more looks if you're a little bit more open with yourself.
Moving on, Sasha has a prominent realization moment where it clicks with them how they feel. How did you decide or realize that this is something you wanted to do? Or did you have a moment like this where it just clicked?
I think I kind of always knew. I had a lot of like really close friendships with girls when I was younger, and I had big crushes on boys. And I didn't realize that it was the same thing happening until probably high school, and I learned about the different sexualities, and it kind of clicked. Oh, well that's me. Like that makes sense.
Mine was kind of like my 8th grade year, and I started getting into online gaming and stuff, so I met a lot of different kinds of people through that. And I was kind of like in denial for that entire time. I was like, oh, this is how I feel, but that's not how I'm supposed to feel, so I was like totally in denial of it until maybe my sophomore year of high school.
I didn't even know what being trans meant. I think that's one of the biggest issues for non-gender conforming people is they just don't know that is a thing
Do you
at
want
all.
to define it?
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Define it.
Oh, I won't define it. There's so
Okay.
many definitions,
Okay.
and there's so many people that I won't define. I think that's one of the biggest things about being gender non-conforming is all the sexualities too. Everybody has their own story. So I'm not going to give a blanket statement here, but I just didn't know what it was. I had no idea it was a thing. I just wanted to be me, and I thought that I was being me. And the older I got, I was told that being me was too feminine or too emotional. How many times my mother was like, boys don't get sad about things like this. And I was like, why not? But that's a whole nother problem. It's like having emotions isn't feminine. Like it shouldn't matter. I was just trying to be myself. And I knew some trans people in high school, and I was still really confused. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me yet. And I wasn't out to myself until freshman year of college. So it took a long time.
I would say that I'm from Chicago, so I'm from the city, and everybody is really diverse in every aspect of what being diverse could be. So I grew up around all different types of people. Both of my sisters are lesbians. My oldest sister is engaged right now, so she's getting married in 2019 to her partner. So that's really exciting. I would say that my experience with saying I want to be a part of you, like your organization and our club and everything, came from my standpoint as a future educator. So I want these things to be out in the open. I want people to be as least judgmental as possible. So why not join something that stands for all of those things that also relates to education? Yeah.
Okay, fair question. Is in the
book, we were reading the 57 Books. One of our main characters has to deal with the hardships of coming out to the world. Did you have to endure hardships like that? And if so, how did you get through them?
I came out with friends in high school. Most of them were just like, oh, okay, because it was like 2015. People were kind of used to hearing about different sexualities. There were a few friends that were very uncomfortable. They were a little bit more religious, and we were still friends, but we weren't never as close as we used to be. Just because I think that they couldn't like feel good about being friends with me because of my sexuality, which kind of hurts. But I never had any blatant issues.
I only had a couple of friends in high school, and I came out to them like my freshman year of college because I was so afraid of what they would think of me. All of my friends online knew because I was like, I'm not actually going to see this person, so I can just be myself and open to them. So I never had any issues there, and I'm still not out to my family. And that's just like a personal fear of mine. And I probably won't be for a very, very long time.
I will back up what Ray is saying here. It is easier to come out to certain people. The first person I ever came out to was my ex, and I was really thinking she was going to be supportive, but at the end of the day, I think my thought process was that worst case scenario, I still had like permanent people in my life. Like, it's just, you know what, I really loved her, and we were dating for a long time, but at the end of the day, I could always move forward. It's harder to tell people that are permanent, like your family. I have multiple friends who are out in certain spheres and not out in others because they're incredibly scared or incredibly uncomfortable. Took me a long time to come out to my family. It did not go well. I'm one of the very classic cases of coming out where it just does not go well. Most people do not respect me. Most people do not call me by my name. They think they are. It hurts, and it's really hard, but I will say that you can always find other people. I have a very wonderful non-blood family that I have found the past few years living in Normal, and I would not be here without them, that's for sure. But yeah, coming out's not easy. Again, lost my train of thought, so I hope that answered your question.
I would say, speaking on the standpoint of watching my sisters grow up lesbian, my oldest sister is currently 27, and she's the one that's engaged, and my other older sister is 25. So I'm 19. So there's quite a bit of gap between our ages. And when my oldest sister came out, she was in high school, and I remember like our dad, he like wanted to disown her, and so like seeing that in my household occur, and like I'm confused, I don't know what's going on. So like it was just really tough. But like I said, she's engaged now and really happy, and they've mended their relationship. My father and her. So, but yeah, she did like almost get disowned. So it is really difficult. Especially like you all spoke on, like permanent people are the ones who you kind of have to like just be pretty fluid, I guess, and see if you want to tell them, when you want to tell them, how you want to tell them, because it can get pretty messy.
I do want to add one thing, just going off of what you and I said. It's okay to not come out. It doesn't make you any less valid, doesn't make you any less whatever you are. It's what matters most is your safety. And I know we're using the term permanent, but at the end of the day, nothing needs to be permanent if it's not safe. So don't forget that either. You can always find new people. You can always find people who actually support you and make you happy. Because if you don't have it, that's not your fault. It really isn't your fault. And the biggest problem that a lot of the people in the LGBTQI+ community will run into is thinking that it's their fault, and it's not.
In the book, Sasha is an agent who doesn't want to conform to one gender or another. In one scene, they are on trip and they have to go to the restroom, but the guy
gas station, they saw that it has only male and female, so they decided to let each other in the restroom because what was going to a restroom like for you in public areas or your transition?
Lance has one. Well, it's a game of speed sometimes. It's like I have supportive coworkers, and that's fantastic. I was not expecting to have as much support as at work as I do, and I don't use the men's restroom anymore. But man, going into the women's restroom, I'm just like, okay, thank God nobody's in here. Okay, go real quick. Somebody comes in, I stay in the stall and I wait. It's scary because it's always going to be that unknown how somebody's going to react. Because sometimes you walk in and you just get that look that says, why on earth are you even within my 5-foot radius right now? Like, I'm trying to wash my hands like a woman, and I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to pee like one. It can be scary. Honestly, I'm not to the point where I just don't care anymore. It's gonna be a while. I don't think it has anything to do with how well or not well that I pass. It just, you never know who's in the door. You never know who's waiting for you outside. So it's always kind of a pick and choose your battles. There's one gender-neutral restroom in all of Schrager Hall, and let me tell you which restroom I use. That one. So it's used to be a woman's restroom, so I still get looks when I go in there sometimes, but whatever. It's a day-by-day thing.
I can ask you. Sasha eased the process of transition for a few of their friends by being there and going through the same thing and staying strong. Was there a person in your life that eased your transition and coming out so that you could successfully be you?
Hey guys, it's me. Yeah, I've got a few people. Like I said, my current girlfriend, before I started dating her, I told her, I said, hey, and at the time I didn't know what I was gonna do. Not all trans people transition. Not all trans people get any surgeries or go through hormone therapy. I didn't know what I was gonna do yet, and I just told her like, hey, I'm trans, and I don't know where I'm going with this. And she didn't care, and wow, that was a great improvement from my last girlfriend. Right off the bat. Still took me a while. Eventually, I decided on a name, and eventually I asked people to call me that name, and some people at my college, pretty much every friend I had made at college was really supportive, which was fantastic. Family again, not really, but I got in a really bad situation. My friends, Max and Lee, actually let me move in with them, and it turned out they were both trans, so that was kind of funny. I never expected to live in a household with more than just one trans person being me, and they really helped me feel comfortable too. On one hand, it's good to surround yourself with people who are different to help you keep an open mind and grow and learn from other people, but there is definitely something comforting about knowing people who are just like you, and it's kind of nice to have a bunch of queer friends, to be honest. But I have a lot of friends, but it's nice that I've been able to build so many relationships with other queer people. But in all honesty, my girlfriend's my biggest ally, and I've had some friends, and again, I would not be here without them, and I'm really, really grateful for the guidance and the support, and that I get from people like you. It means a lot.
Okay, so I have question 6. In the book, The 57 Bus, Sasha refers to an agender teen. How and when did you know that what you wanted to be called?
One of my best friends is named Elliot, and they identify as non-binary, which is sort of like the umbrella term for people who don't identify with either gender, or with a different gender. And the way Elliot figured it out was that they first started going by Elliot because someone else in that class had their original name, and so they needed a different name to be called instead of like, say like Sally, Asian Sally. And they really enjoyed being called Elliot, and then kind of realized, oh, maybe I don't want to be going by my original pronouns. Maybe I would be more comfortable with they them pronouns. So they started testing they them pronouns and realized, yep, that's me. I don't identify with either gender. I'm more comfortable using Elliot, which can kind of go for either gender. I'm more comfortable using they them, so that it doesn't identify me by my gender when people talk to me. And that was just kind of there. That's how they do it.
I have two cousins that are both transgender. One is they them pronouns and the other is she her. Still goes by their birth name. Elise is still Elise and Christopher is still Christopher. But they choose to use different pronouns instead because they liked their given name, so they kept it. I think it's just a personal choice at that point.
Yeah, so I had no idea what to do. I was like, new name? You can't just change your name. But I just remembered that when I was really young, I had asked my mom what I would have been named if I was born a girl. And she's like, oh, it would have been Jennifer. And I'm like, thanks, pocketing that information. And that's what I started going with. I did eventually have a dream where people were calling me Robin, and so I just went with that as a middle name because I used to go by my middle name anyway. So if I ever switch my name again, guys, sorry, you know. Well, is it you will? I know you will. Another thing was, again, at the very beginning when I barely knew what being trans meant at all, I really just kind of thought that there was like two options. I was like, oh, well, I could either be cis or I could be trans, so I must be a girl. And to be completely honest, I'm kind of on the fence right now if I identify more as non-binary or just as a trans girl. But we'll figure it out. It takes time. Takes time to figure out what you're comfortable with. It was kind of weird at first having everybody switch over. At work, I was like, hey, I'm going to get a new name tag, and I'd love if you called me the name on the name tag, and it went great. But yeah, it takes a little bit of time. It kind of happens when you don't expect it to, I think.
Okay, so I have question 7 as well. The 57 bus book again, Sasha as an Asian and teen has support from their family. I know what we kind of already off this, but it's still a question. Has your family disagreed with your decision, or have they supported your decision?
I can start, yeah. I'm not out to my family either. They don't have an issue with people in the LGBTQ plus community, but they have made some comments that have made me slightly uncomfortable, so I don't want to step into that until I'm kind of fully separate from them, until I have my own place and things like that, just in case something does go poorly, because it's happened to one of my friends, and you just have to be careful about what you're doing.
I'm also not out to my family, like I said. And I honestly, I don't think that they would take it too harshly, but I don't think that they probably talk to me afterwards. They're not very accepting of my cousins who do identify differently. My grandparents, on the other hand, are totally supportive of everything, so I could, but I won't because if it came up in conversation with my parents, I know that I would be losing at least one part of my family and the other part I'm closest to. So that's something that I won't do, but it's totally okay to not do it if you know that it's something that's going to hurt you because you are in charge of yourself. Your happiness is your responsibility. Don't do something that's going to mess it up.
I think my best example is straight up current events. My sister is getting married, and she wouldn't put my name on the invitation. She, matter of fact, told me she wasn't going to put anything on the invitation, which, to a degree, can be seen as a compromise. She's like, well, you should be happy. I refer to you as my sibling now. And I'm like, that's great, Danielle. But everybody keeps telling me not to go because I'm not going to be respected. The only person who would be there to support me wasn't invited. So it's just going to be me. And family members who have said things like, oh, you know trans people, that's why you're trans. And I'm like, when I came out and they were like, when did you start, like, when did you like know for sure? And I was like, oh, well, you know, I knew this has been like, 3 years now at the time. It's like, it's been like 3 years. And, well, some of my other friends kind of helped me through it. They're trans as well. And they're like, oh, did you ever stop to think that that's why? And I'm like, no, because I didn't know them when I knew that I was trans. The emotional, the mental hurdles people try to go through to explain things to themselves sometimes. Like when I came out to my parents, which was very, very difficult, and I was a scared little ass at work, texting a very long message, freaking out when I shouldn't have been texting because I was at work. And instead of talking to me about it, my parents just tried to con me out of it. And it was upsetting because I wanted to educate them. I wanted them to understand that I was still their kid. And some people just don't get that. Some people think that the label is everything, and it's not. It's not. A label makes people comfortable. A label can help people belong. But I'm so much more than a trans person. I'm myself. I am me. I am all of these interlocking identities, and some people just can't see that. And it's a shame because you always want support from your family. You always want support from your friends, and sometimes you just don't find it. Sometimes you need to find it elsewhere, and sometimes you need to find it in yourself.
I think that's a really good point because I don't have my own personal story, but I did share about my older sister, and she played basketball. Both of them play basketball. All my siblings play basketball. I don't play basketball, but obviously that's like a team setting, and they build a lot of relationships. And I know that a lot of her supports came from her teammates, and I think that it's just really important how Jen just said you can't always seek for other people to have these things for you. Some things are within yourself, and it's your job to discover them. It takes time, it takes will. You kind of have to be strong mentally to overcome whatever it is, because outside people are poignant, and their opinions impact how you feel about yourself. And so you kind of just have to deal with it and kind of go with the flow. I would say looking for supports is always an option. Like, don't just sit and like be locked away or whatever, but kind of searching for those things and also searching for them within yourself.
I think it's really good that Sasha had support in the book, because there are so many varieties of things you're going to see when people come out as their true self. And like we said, you don't always have to have support from your family. A lot of the people in the LGBTQ plus community kind of have a found family where they find support in other ways, and they call those people their family because not every family is going to be accepting.
I can take the next question, but I am gonna change it up a little bit. So this is for you. How has your decision to join Queer Ed Birds, even though you're not a direct member of the LGBTQ plus community, changed your life?
I wouldn't say it changed my life because I've always been kind of an ally. And then the club, it just was fitting for me to be a part of it, especially with the education aspect, how we are trying to reach people. I would say that it has, like, before I met you, I hadn't met a trans person. And so I think it's really a great light to shed on the fact that as diverse as I think I am, there's always more diversity to come. There's always more people to accept. There's always more things to learn. Like, even just being here talking to you guys today, I've learned so much about you three. So it's just kind of cool to see how other people's lives are going. Things that I don't directly experience still happen. And so I don't want to be ignorant, you know, like I want to learn and know as much as I can. So I can be, like how we just talked about, a support. I am an ally, so I'm supportive. So I would say that just that kind of allowing myself to see things that I wouldn't normally see is what I get from the club, and also great relationships are being made, stories are being told. There's always like something different going on with us, so I think that it's just kind of a catch-22 thing. Like, I get what I get and I accept it.
Do we, for time's sake, do want to ask them maybe one or two more questions? And then we have pizza if you're willing to join us. You don't have to though, but we knew it was
Love
over
food.
lunch hour whenever y'all were coming, and we
Going through
appreciate you coming
puberty again. I
down.
love food.
Yay! So maybe get one or two lasting questions. You covered the book really well, I felt. So now you're kind of to your extra questions. So pick one or two of those to wrap things up.
How long did
It's a spectrum. It's like, okay, so you just have a new label, whatever, you know, no big deal. And then there are some people that are gonna need to take a few weeks and really think like, oh, I thought I knew exactly who you were, and now there's a different thing I gotta learn what this means. And then there are some people on the complete opposite end that are never going to ever accept it. It's every person's different.
Mine like changed with how long I had known that person. So like if I had known them longer, like they were either super accepting or super not accepting, because they were like, I thought I knew you, like Kari said, and they were like, and now I don't, so I don't want to be your friend anymore. But the people that I would just meet and just straight up introduce myself and be like, hey, this is what I am, deal with it, they were like, yeah, okay, cool. That's what you are, and I don't know you previously, so I don't have these thoughts in my head of what you are to me.
Ongoing process. Most of the people, I keep my family around. I really want them to stay in my life. I don't know if it will happen over time. I don't know if they will. And that's hard to face. Again, kind of going or not going to the wedding. It's like that's the way I look at it. It's burning a bridge if I don't go, because it's your wedding. But am I gonna be respected there? Who knows? It's an ongoing process. Most of the people I keep around, most of the people in my life accept me for who I am, treat me with love and respect, and that's important. But yeah, it's
Got it.